So the age-old question about Linux versus Mac versus Windows, this has been going on. So the short of it is this: Linux is good if you are working in the backend. It is also good if you're a programmer. If it is also good if you want to understand your system. Now, I've used Linux and I've used Arch Linux and I've used every flavor of Linux available there except probably Nix OS, but pretty much everything else. And Linux is pretty good. But the problem is Linux is made by individuals, so things can break and things would break. Windows is good. Windows is very good. If you are into gaming and if you're into daily usage, Windows is absolutely perfect for you. Excel is great, Word is great, everything works in Windows. Upgrades, you don't have to worry about any of those things. Mac OS is also great. Especially the laptops of Macs, amazing laptops, very good battery life. As a holistic system, the system works. It talks to its hardware, it talks to its software. Everything is integrated into one. You don't have to worry about one breaking down the other. So Mac OS also works. It is good for programming. It is based on Unix, although not directly, but it is based on something called as BSD. I'm sorry. And Linux is good for enthusiasts who want to learn about computers. So how does your system work? How do you go and configure your various files in the system or applications? But there are lots and lots and lots of packages in Linux. And if you go into one ecosystem, so there are three large ecosystems. There is a Debian ecosystem in Linux, there is a Fedora Linux ecosystem, and there is the Arch Linux. If you go into one of these systems, you have to understand all of those systems and so on and so forth. So it is good from a development point of view, but from a daily life point of view, Linux is not good. Linux will not be, from a software availability point of view, it is great, but it is free and great, but all those softwares, they are lacking in quality. They're not the best software. They would work, but if they break down, you have to go to the forum and ask questions and so on and so forth. In the case of macOS, I haven't found a software breaking up ever. It just works. Windows, of course, one more thing, gaming. If you want to play any of the good games that are available, there is no way that the game is going to work in Mac. There is no way that the game is going to work in Linux. It will only work in Windows. The games, I have tried to run games on Linux using the emulators and SteamOS and stuff like that. The FPS is bad. The games they don't run at all. Windows, buttery smooth, absolutely native performance. That's what you want. Mac doesn't support it. They don't care about it. So games, Windows. If you're talking about, say, um, Adobe software and some sort of creative work, then everything works on Mac. Mac is the go-to. So creative people, Mac is the go-to. For people who want to play some games, Windows is a go-to. If people who want to do programming and a bit of creative work, Mac is great, and Linux is also good. But people who want to stay in the back end, what use programming as and they love their system, Linux is the best one for them because they can configure their files, they can do package management. If you are into Arch, and one more thing, Linux, you have to update it constantly. You'll completely be, if you're using Arch Linux, you have to update it daily or at least weekly, and that becomes a chore after a point in time. In Ubuntu and other system, it's not that common, but then in Arch it is common. So if you like to be in the systems integration and backend side of stuff, then Linux is great. For the rest of the regular folks, I think the systems which are running are absolutely fine.